today's guest, a man who's been in the musical limelight for the past 55 years, can you believe? And with hits like these, it's easy to see why he's been described as Britain's answer to Elvis, the UK's original rock and roller, and a piece of pan of pop.
Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living dog.
Waiting for this moment,
Have they?
Yeah.
Very short seats. And I love that sign up there. It says, "What a night." But do you know one I like better? I don't know whether you have it. It says, "Cliff, you're hotter than Robbie."
We're not going to disagree. Now, very busy time of year for you, isn't it? You have your 140th single out, which you're going to hear later. Rip it up.
Oh, yeah, we're good. Yes, that's what we'll do it later.
Yeah, we're going to do it later. And your 100th album, which is this.
Which is one for every year of my career.
And it's a fabulous rock and roll songbook and some great songs on this.
Well, we tried to choose the iconic rock and roll songs.
Yeah.
In fact, the Beatles and I and a number of people cut our teeth on that music. Little Richard, Elvis Presley, Ricky Nelson, Buddy Holly, the Everly Brothers. And it wasn't easy, but not too difficult to pick out really well-known, fabulous songs. And I picked a couple that may not have been as well-known. There's one there by a guy called Roy Hamilton. It's called "Don't Let Go." And I loved it when I first heard it. I've got it on my jukebox, but a lot of people say, we don't know that one. So I thought, after this album, they will.
Well, I'll tell you what I loved. I have to say, I've listened to that CD and I know all your songs, and they sound so
Was
fresh.
this a black market version? It's only come out today.
Well, for us, we were able to listen to it today.
Oh, okay.
But every song is so fresh and so new, and it's so honestly, you have to get it. It's absolutely, and it made me really smile. It was just a wonderful. That was lovely to listen to.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because obviously, one of the big challenges when you're doing a revival album, it's not a cover album. For me, covers are when you cover something that's already a hit there now. This is a revival album, and when you hear the originals, it takes you right back. When I heard the Little Richard version again, I'm thinking, oh. And then I said to the guys, we need to change it a little, but we have to pay respects to everything. So what you've said makes me feel really good.
Honest to God, I thought, oh my God, it sounds like they're new songs to me.
It sounds like they're mine, doesn't it?
Yeah. This like is One More Sunny Day.
Oh, that's the record company said, yeah, go on, do the whole album of old songs, so we did 14. And then, in fact, they said they'd like one brand new song. And the producer, Steve Mandel, and his co-writer wrote that song.
I love that song.
Isn't it?
It's such a gorgeous song.
If this had been 20 years ago, I'm almost certain we'd have chosen that as a single.
Oh, it should be a single.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to get airplay on new material.
Oh, right.
So if you use the old stuff, all the old people love it, don't they?
It's still hard for you to get airplay. You seem to always have a battle.
Things have changed, you know. Well, you know what it's like. You made records. It was a different period then, and usually if your record got in the charts, everybody played that record, and the higher it got, the more you got. When it started coming down, they took it and then they dumped it. Whereas nowadays, we really don't get a chance to compete with the young guys. Who I think, I mean, I watch every now and then the X Factor, and even the losers are good. One Direction is all losers. Sorry, One Direction is all of them are losers. And yet they're the biggest boy band in the world. Sorry, darling.
Now, you were described as the British Elvis. Did you ever get to meet Elvis?
Oh, I didn't. It was the worst mistake I've made. I was promoting a song called Devil Woman in America, and I talked to this journalist, and he said, He asked me about inspiration. I said, well, there's no doubt about it. No Elvis, no Cliff. And he said, well, I know Elvis. Would you like to meet him? I went, yes. He was at Vegas. And he said, one thing, though, we must have the exclusive rights for my newspaper for the photographs. I said, take them. I just want one for the kitchen. And then, of course, I said to him, look, I tell you what, Elvis is, you must remember, he put on a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But he was about to make a movie, and when he did the movies, he slimmed down, and I wanted a picture of me on my kitchen wall with the guy that inspired me, and I should have said yes, because now I look back on it thinking, I don't mind, as long as I was standing next to Elvis, I loved it.
Oh.
And so I blew it. So if ever you get a chance to meet me and I'm fat, still come.
Which was something that was recorded live in Sydney, wasn't it? It's still reeling and a rocking.
Yes, well, again, it was leading up to this album. I started the tour in January in New Zealand and then played Australia, and we decided to film it in the Sydney Opera House, which is a wonderful venue. Great situation, and it was just a terrific time. And of course, I was able to present, before I'd even recorded this album, we did 4 or 5 songs just to test them out. And to find out how we could do it.
On tour?
On the tour. Okay. So they're on the DVD anyway.
Well, let's see a little clip of the tour show.
Oh, good, okay. I never get to see these things, you know, and even this afternoon I'm going to introduce the DVD to a whole bunch of fans I think it's at the Mayfair somewhere, and then I'm going to go out and do interviews. So I even know I won't get a chance to see it.
No.
So I'll just have to take a copy with me to Barbados or something. Which is what I do. You know, you showed the Downton Abbey thing.
Yeah.
I've never seen the show, but I've bought all the DVDs, and then you can watch 3 or 4 a night.
I know. Idea.
It's great. I love doing that.
Yeah, it's fantastic for a whole week.
Yes.
And then you get the whole...
12 o'clock comes and goes.
Don't have a cup of tea with Sherry after, because she'll tell you exactly what's happening.
I'll tell you what's happening.
Spoil it.
Oh, okay.
You don't want that.
Do I want to know? Do I need to know?
No, don't.
Mind you, I don't mind knowing. Sometimes if it gets really sad and horrible, I like the fact that you say, yeah, but I know it's going to end all right.
Well, if you're staying with us, for the next part, and we're going to hear your new single in the next part. Lovely. So it's time for a quick break. And speaking of musical performances, make sure you also tune in tomorrow